Pastor Natouchka Voigt, a powerhouse of purpose, healing, and transformation. With over 27 years of experience in ministry, coaching, and community leadership, she has touched countless lives through faith-based counseling and bold visionary service. As the founder of the Body of Christ Counseling Center and the force behind Natouchka Speaks Consulting, she equips professionals, families, and leaders to grow with purpose and integrity. A published author and dynamic speaker, Pastor Natouchka brings a blend of spiritual insight and real-world wisdom to every stage and platform she graces. Through every role she holds, pastor, coach, speaker, and guide, she leads with love, serves with vision, and inspires transformation across generations.
Her name is Natouchka. Give us a little background, the origin of your name.
My name Natouchka, my father gave me that. It is actually a Russian name, but I think my father selected the name because my last name is German. So my last name is Voigt. So I think it kind of complemented the name.
Very beautiful name.
Thank you.
For those who are meeting you for the first time, tell us a little bit about what you do.
I am a pastor. I've been a pastor for quite a number of years. I'm not your traditional pastor. I am more of a pastor of a church without walls. So most of my services are outside of the church building. I am also a business and life coach where I help people develop with my program, which is a 360-degree coaching style that addresses all areas of your life so you can be your whole self. And I counsel people. I provide service.
How do you keep yourself grounded? You wear so many different hats.
I think I keep myself grounded because I am a woman of faith. I truly believe that you have to operate in your purpose. And I spend a lot of time in the presence of God. We have to be accountable to someone, so I am accountable to Him. And I kind of make sure that I follow where He leads me. And when it feels like it's overwhelming, it's like a gauge for me, letting me know that maybe you're doing too much on your own and maybe you're a little outside of the scope of where He wants you to be. So then I kind of scale back and stay focused on where I am.
For those who don't know the difference between their true calling and a good idea, how did you discern the difference?
Well, first I had to be a student in this class. I wasn't always a good student. I had to retake the course, but I realized not every good thing is a God thing. Just because it's good doesn't mean that's where you're supposed to be. I think you also have, if you're not a spiritual person, you do have that gut feeling that maybe this is more about what I want than what I'm supposed to do to help others. Because when you operate in your purpose, it's a service to other people and you also grow as well. You fit in really well. It's like buying a shoe and you got the right size, not trying to fit into something that doesn't work and then you have pain. Not to say that you won't go through something, but there is a distinct difference. And if you quiet yourself long enough, you'll be able to see it.
And have you been able to help those who struggle with that, knowing the difference?
I have in coaching and as a minister as well, because people come to you seek counsel and you guide them through the process. You have people open up about their struggles. They have to be comfortable with you. And as a life coach, when I have clients, it takes them a little while to share and open up. But when they do, we have an opportunity to look at what you're struggling with. And then it's never the thing that's right in front of you. It's the things that went on before that.
Right.
That's just a trigger. Right. So I help my clients see what's in front of them, understand why they're struggling with it, and what if you did the other thing. Because sometimes we speak negatively about ourselves and we tend to talk ourselves out of where we should really be.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, when someone is struggling with integrating their professional and their spiritual life, how do you help them to be able to bridge the two?
I tend to use the journey that I took because it was very difficult to integrate the type of minister that I was and also being in a leadership role and a coach. I had to learn to trust what I was told. And I had to make mistakes to do that because I'm a leader by nature And what happened with me is I like to control, right? I had to relinquish that control. I remember very clearly one day I had this vision and I'm in a car and God is the passenger. He's in the back seat and I'm in the front and he wants to drive, but I keep grabbing the steering wheel. And I remember him saying to me, "Are you going to let me drive?" I had not even realized I was preventing him from driving the vehicle. And I'm a visual learner, so I had to see that. So I have to be very cognizant, pay attention to what I do because I can get back in that mode. But remembering the rewards that happen by letting go, relinquishing control to him. So people have to you got to come to know yourself. You have to recognize where you struggle, where you may be sabotaging things. You have to be truthful with yourself. You can sit with a coach, you can sit with leaders until you come to the place where you say to yourself, you know what, I think I have a problem right here. I think it may be hindering me from getting where I really want to be. You have to be honest with yourself. Do you really want to be here or do you want to do your purpose? Maybe the glamorous life looks a lot better than everything else.
Right.
So it makes it difficult sometimes. You have to receive your truth. You have to own it. And then you can heal from it. And then you can actually do what you were called to do.
And is there certain steps that people can take? You talk about that quiet moment. Sometimes we're distracted by what's happening around us in our lives. That takes up a lot of space. And we don't have time for anything else.
Right.
So what do you suggest people do to get in touch with that core self?
Well, the first thing is acknowledging that you need to, right? And once you acknowledge that you need to, I would encourage people, because I did a lot of reading. I didn't just read the Bible. I read about a lot of people's lives. I pay attention to what people do. Part of my work when I was a leader was to pay attention to how my staff function and how it would align with where we were going. One of the things I would tell my staff is, we're going to take a moment right now. We're not going straight into the meeting. We're going to pause and sit in this quiet place, which is very difficult for people to do because we're so busy chasing something.
Right.
And I will tell people, let's stop for a minute. And I remember saying to my staff, because a lot of people would go from one job to the next. I said, well, what do you do in between the transition? Well, I get in my car. I don't really do anything. I said, well, what if you turn on the radio and just listen to something quiet? What if you listen to your book in the car? What if you listen to something that builds you up? What if you don't listen to anything at all? What if you just sit by the window and let the warmth of the sun touch you? We tend to not take care of ourselves in that way. And if we don't get quiet, we can't hear what we're supposed to do. So for me, I had to acknowledge that there was something going on. I had to relinquish control. I had to start being a student and reading things that I was led to read to help me grow in areas that I needed help in. And I entered into a place of gratitude. Every morning I wake up and for those people that may have trouble being on their knees or they need to sit, I bring my ottoman in front of the window and I am grateful for the little things. And you can go into the big things, but the mere fact that you got out of bed, it does something to your inside and develops a rhythm in you that makes you learn how to pause. And that gratitude makes you grab hold of what you have in front of you. But people don't always do that. It isn't as difficult as people think. It's just a fear of what they can't control.
Right. And I like the fact that you said just being grateful for the small things, because sometimes when people are overwhelmed in their lives by the challenges, it's hard to see the positives.
Yes.
How do you help people from going from focusing on the small thing, the small wins, if you will, and not so much about the things that, like you said, they don't have control over?
Right.
How do people let go?
I think people have to remember we don't all start at the top, right? And everything starts with the first step, right? And you're going to be challenged when you get to the top. You're going to struggle even before you get there. But I think you need to remember, if you have a family, for example, you're striving to get to that successful VP position, things like that, but everything's against you. The mere fact that you still have a family, you still have a roof over your head, maybe not this lavish life that you want, but to recognize that you could be in a worse position than you are. And sometimes because people are so focused on the destination, they forget the journey. They forget to smell the flowers on the road. If you take an opportunity to look to the left or the right, don't go to the left or the right, but look at what's at the left and the right. You could say to yourself, you know what, this isn't so bad. It's not where I want to be, but I do realize these are the steps I need to get there. And people don't always do that. I didn't always have an easy life. I went through many challenges. But one thing I never did, when things were foreign and didn't make sense, I never let go of the hem of his garment because I didn't know what was in front of me. It really looked bad. I mean, it was bad. But I could trust him because I knew that his plans for me weren't to harm me, but it meant I was going to go through something. But his plans were to help me get to a better place, to prosper me. But what does prosperity look like to you?
Right. For
know?
each person, it's different.
It
right?
is different.
And they really have to discover that for themselves.
They have to discover it for themselves.
Sometimes people think when they see you at the end of your success, they think you didn't go through anything. And you cannot possibly relate to them.
Exactly.
Can you give us just a little piece of something that you went through in a moment where you wanted to give up?
I think I have had so many experiences. I have a situation where I had two miscarriages. I am a mother of 5.
Right.
I had already had 2 daughters. I had remarried. And my husband had no children. And I was ready to have more children. I miscarried the first time and the second time. So I began to think that I couldn't have any more children, or sometimes your genes don't mesh well together. I thought many things. And in the middle of a miscarriage, I was giving up hope completely. My marriage was failing. Everything was crumbling before me. I couldn't control this thing. And I do recall, and again, I'm a visual person, and I was in the shower and I was miscarrying. And I remember hearing a voice say to me, I promise I will give you a child. Now you're miscarrying, like you're not thinking, really?
Yeah.
And I remember seeing like a hand around my womb. And I miscarried and I went to the doctor. It was a few weeks later and he was like, well, I don't really want you to try to get pregnant for a long time. We need to find out what's going on. He said, but I'm going to give you this medication to take. But he said, I have to do a pregnancy test first. And I kid you not, when he came back, he said, you are pregnant. You're very pregnant. And it took a miracle for me to hold on to help me through the challenges, because there were going to be more challenges. My miracle is now 22 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. And when I have difficult moments, I am reminded of that moment that in the impossible, it is possible. So that was one of the ways, and I still hold on to that. I have many, but that one is very significant in my life.
Right. Because sometimes people can't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah,
right?
they can't. Sometimes.
They are, again, focused on what's happening in the moment.
Yes.
And it's hard to be grateful for the little things. Look for the small things.
Yeah.
Because we all have them.
Yeah.
Maybe not on the scale that you've described, but we all have them.
Of course. Yeah.
That's a difficult place to help people to see, to visualize.
Yeah.
What happens when someone comes to you and you can't seem to help them, to guide them from where they are to where they should be?
I think there's a place you come to where you can't do all the work. I mean, I've worked in the mental health field for about 15 years, and we learn very early on, if you're working harder than the client, something is wrong.
Right.
So that's the same thing, even if a person doesn't have a mental health issue. Sometimes people have to live through things. I will help you to the degree that you allow me to help you, but I can't help you if you're not ready to be helped. And I'm very clear on that posture, because I see what happens when you build someone up and they weren't part of it. It's only going to crumble.
Right.
They have to be involved in that process, whether it's good or bad. And I think people need to also understand, when you're going through the difficult times, own that too. We have to go through things. It's where we grow. It's not, we don't grow in the success. We grow in the pain.
Absolutely.
And then we get where we need to go. You may have people that help you along the way, but if people are carrying you the entire way, you're never going to understand the value of your journey. So I know how to scale that.
Because a lot of what you do has a lot of spiritual foundation.
Yes.
Have you had people who come to you who may not have that? How do you help them to still overcome their pain and focus on the positives?
So everybody that I deal with is not saved or a Christian, and that's okay, right? Because the truth of the matter is, I still have certain principles that I live by that I can help you learn by. I've had people come, I'm not into the God,
Right,
and I'm like, okay, but we can still do this work. What are you challenged with? And I still apply the principles because the principles work anyway.
Right.
Regardless of what you label it with. If I provide service in the community, it's still Christ. But just because I didn't tell you it's Christ doesn't mean it's still not service. So when someone comes and says, I really am having this difficult time, and I have a lot of clients that I coach that are not coming to me for spiritual guidance, but I do let my clients know, there's a 360-degree approach to wellness. It's your personal, your physical, your spiritual, your emotional, and your professional, right? It's all those pieces. If you don't tackle them all, then you're going to operate from a lopsided scale, and we don't want to do that. So I know the principles that I live by work. So I help people with those.
It's very difficult sometimes for people to know who's a perfect coach for them, right? How do you go about helping people to make that decision? Let's say they come to you and you just can't guide them.
Right.
What do you do in those cases when someone struggles like that?
I always try to guide clients to someone else that may be suitable. It's just like when I speak to clients about therapy. You may go to a therapist and that one doesn't work. That's okay. Try someone else. Give yourself a chance with them. But I will suggest them to find someone that meets what they need. I don't think I'm the coach for everyone. I know I'm the coach for a selected group of people, but I would guide a client. And if I didn't have a recommendation, I would suggest that they start researching and look at certain criteria that coach has that they may need for themselves. I know sometimes people are a little skeptical about coming to me as a coach because you're a pastor and I have a lot of issues. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to preach to you either. I'm here to coach you.
I like that.
So there's a difference, so, but again, the principles are still the same because it works.
Right. I like that. And you're educating people as well. Has anybody ever come to you where they felt like it was too late? They get to a certain point of their life. They've raised the children. They may be going through a divorce. They may have, their lifestyle have changed. And they might think, this is it for me. It's over.
I have a lot of clients that come that think it's too late. They come and they just, I'm just going to try, but I really don't think it's going to work. You spend time helping them understand, well, the reason you came is because there's still a light there. Right. And I do meet older people, maybe younger people as well, that they share, like, I've had so many failed relationships. I don't think I'm made to have a relationship. I don't deserve one. I remind them, as we walk through why they think that way, where the self-worth has been afflicted, as we walk through where hope has been lost. Once we open up Pandora's box and we look at what's going on, I ask them sometimes, what if? And, it's a look on their face like, what do you mean? I said, well, what if you actually do get that? What if you do meet a man that wants a relationship? It's almost like a shock for people. What if you do deserve that promotion? What if you do love yourself? And it amazes me every time when people are shocked because it's a risk that you don't want to take with yourself. And I've said to people, who do you spend the most time with? And people, I spend it with this, I spend it with that. No, actually, you spend the most time with yourself. But yet you don't know yourself.
Right.
I have said to women also, you know the man you're with better than you know yourself. Why is that? When do you make the commitment to yourself? When do you believe for you? You'll believe for him. You believe for the kids. You believe for your job. You believe for your career. But you won't believe for you.
Right.
So I have a lot of people who come and think it's over. And then when you work with them and then they start experiencing amazing things, and it doesn't happen overnight. They're like, this just happened to me. Right. And you are deserving of it.
And what is it? Is it a shift in mindset? What is it that they're doing physically? Because some people might think, well, that means that I don't have to do anything, but just believe. No, it's not just believing, right? What do they have to do?
There's an action that needs to take place.
Just when you thought belief was enough, Pastor Natouchka says, no, there's action you must take. In part 2, we unpack what that action looks like and why so many people stay stuck even when they believe. If you're ready to move from intention to transformation, don't miss what's coming next. Stay tuned. Part 2 drops soon on Mentally Healthier.